This topic is very interesting because I come from a family where I have youngsters who are at the cusp of finishing their education and getting into the industry, seeking for jobs in the current market. I want to start by asking you, Professor Gopalan, what really needs to change in the Indian higher education system? Because the curriculum more or less has remained the same, barring few technological advancements or few nuances which have improved with the course of the past few years. But when we see the industry has changed rapidly. So what do you think right now, as per the higher education curriculum, needs to change instantly?
I think at this point in time also, universities are being used by industry as a means for hiring talent largely. So what actually needs to change is a sense of seamlessness has to come in. The walls between the classroom and the place of work have to start coming down. And the way this can come down is if we kind of engage industry practitioners, not only industry practitioners, if we kind of also bring live problems of the industry into the classroom. So I'll give you an example. We are working at NIIT University with a company in Hyderabad. So the company does a lot of work relating to cyber security and annotation of images and stuff like that. So we have a working relationship with that company in the sense that we have taken over many of the things that their employees do. We have brought that into the curriculum, integrated seamlessly that into the curriculum. There are a lot of subjects in mathematics, including matrix multiplication. Then there is Python programming, which is unrelated to that. So we have kind of integrated whatever we teach at the university with those live problems of the industry, and we have tried to make a connect for the student. And in doing so, we are also teaching them interpersonal working skills, working in groups, what we heard all of today as experiential kind of an education. So many other things are being done to make that connect with the industry as relevant as it can be.
All right. Professor Banerjee, then why in the recent past have we been hearing so much about students not getting placed? And here I'm talking about the topmost universities in the country, which are the A category universities. And we are getting these reports constantly with the course of the past 1 or 2 years that the placements have become a huge problem. Is the job market the issue here, or is the main issue that the curriculum and the industry aspirations are still running parallelly and they really haven't combined together?
It's a great question. First of all, a very good afternoon to one and all. I think being a die-hard optimist, I see this as a change that we are going to see. If you look at the Indian democratic dividend, the number of youth population in India is humongous. And also we should accept that there is a bit of a pedagogical as well as the process-led gaps, so which means there needs to be even more robust industry integrated approach. I have a lot of faith in the higher education experts and professors and academics who come together to draw out a great curriculum, but there needs to be a lot of, micro-credentials. To give you an example, to place, say, management graduates, you think of, say, business analytics as a program, and say, for example, SAS is being a partner. The students are already ready to be placed even before they pass out. So I think of the university. Similarly, if you look at AI, because, as you know that computer science and AI is becoming very, very good as a choice of program. However, we have seen that till they hone the skills that are really required by the industry, by having this certification, and the big companies, the big tech giants are already aligning with us to offer this kind of a co-pilot programs. And similarly, also, we have been talking about AI for very long. So I think co-piloting projects with AI where the students can learn at the pace where they are able to deliver. So I think it's a mix of pedagogy, it's a mix of the collaborative approach, and the NEP 2020 has really aligned seamlessly the education department sectors, bringing in professor of practice who are bridging that kind of a gap, and finally the industry. So I think together there is a challenge in terms of numbers in India, which is huge, but today Indians are not just going to India, they're going abroad. So there is a bigger world out there. So if you look at Dubai or Singapore, even, I'm not even talking about the US or Europe, but the big market for placement is also today Singapore and Dubai. And these are also very large companies which have their corporate offices around. So I see that happening. There could be a few sectors where the growth could be slightly smaller. For example, if you look at, sometimes still I feel that what needs to be developed are possibly maybe architecture, where I think there needs to be a little more understanding about the giants which are doing a lot of work in the infrastructure development. A lot of civil engineers, I think while we are doing great in civil engineering, if you look at India, but still there could be a little more of companies which can come to the universities to offer these programs. So on one side, yes, there is a bit of a challenge, but there are lots of avenues now, and that's what higher education institutions are doing. And I want to end by saying that, very interestingly, after the NEP has unfolded, and primarily after the COVID 2020, what has happened is universities are collaborating. So if I have a great lab and there is in the vicinity another university, we are forming a league of group of institutions helping the students of other universities as well. So that's what I would like to say.
So Professor Tandon, does that mean, and will it be a sweeping statement when I say this, that only those who have a deeper and a better understanding of technology have that edge in the eyes of the industry?
See, this is a very multifaceted kind of a question and the subject, because industry today, industry academy interaction is, I would say, is not only the need of the hour. I would call it, to emphasize, need of the minute. Why? Because the question which you posed earlier, I would like to just say something about that too. Definitely, when we give admission to the students, it's our responsibility to see to it. It's not only imparting education, but also employability. And employability can only increase if we understand the needs of the industry. So what at MIT University we have been doing, as per the philosophy of our founders and our philosophy of our Chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan, what we are doing is that we have a session with industry. We understand their needs in all the sectors, across all the sectors, across all the disciplines. For example, recently we conducted industry meet with 60 industry people in the field of biosciences and field of health and allied sciences, wherein they told us that the regulatory processes play a very important role. So what we have done, we have immediately included that part in our syllabi. So that's the first step which we have done, and this is across, as I told, all the institutions. We have 60 plus institutions in MIT University. So each and everyone is doing that. And it's very important that we need to have industry people in our advisory board also. In our board of studies, we have industry people who guide us so that they can tell us this what industry needs today, so that when a student passes out of the university, he is industry ready. He can be employed immediately. So these are the few steps which we are doing. Of course, there'll come research. We can talk about later about it. Yeah.
So, Professor Gopalan, taking from where Sir left, it is very important and critical that the faculty and educators also are on the same page as the industry. But how difficult is it to align today's faculty and educators, because learners, probably because there is so much of access of social media and technology beyond universities, schools and colleges as well, and it's very easy for them to grasp the growing technology or the technological advancement. But how difficult or challenging is it to align the faculty and educators in the same way?
I think that actually brings into focus, what do you do for your faculty hiring itself? Where do you hire your faculty members from? What is their exposure? Are they open to these ideas? These are issues you need to probe at the stage of the hiring itself. We are a very young university, so we are in a position to be able to do that. We are in a very, very advantageous situation. So what we do is, whenever we kind of, for example, identify an area where a hiring has to happen, we bring into focus what are the issues involved, what are the subjects that the person would be teaching, what is the research focus that the person will have to keep, what are the industries that come to the campus for hiring such graduates, and whether he will be able to like kind of liaise with those kind of people. Most importantly, at the university, what we also do is, we are now, as part of the new NEP policy, we are providing them 1 year of internship. The university provides the internship for the students in the final year. So when these students go to the industry, this is an academic component of the program. This is not that they are interning there. It is actually a part of their, study at the university. So the teachers automatically are involved in the evaluation process. So you have a student, you have an industry mentor, and you have a faculty mentor, because ultimately the grade has to be settled at the university. So as a result of this interaction that happens between the faculty and the partner at the industry, a lot of things are beginning to fructify in the academic space.
It's very important to have industry representation in the academic ecosystem.
Yeah. I think again that has been made possible under the UGC through this hiring of professors of practice. And we have many such people who are working with us, who are actually providing us a lot of utility.
Professor Banerjee, we're discussing innovations in higher education, and one stark change that probably me as an individual I have noticed over the course of the past few years is the number of new avenues that have opened up. For example, UX, UI, digital creativity is something which is a booming sector, and I see a lot of youngsters wanting to get into that space, hoping that they could get into the influencer industry, the social media industry, for that matter, even the advertising industry. As per your understanding and your your knowledge, how has this industry really changed, especially the higher education? And when we say innovations in higher education, what as per you have been the very critical innovations over the probably past decade?
So it's a great question. I would like to start with a cue that I heard from Professor. You mentioned also about the teacher training. So I think at IILM University, very recently, we concluded the MMTTP, the Malviya Mission Teacher Training, which means that another university in DU partnered to offer this program. So which means that every university, you're aligning to bring in new knowledge to the campus and also share knowledge with other campuses. So far as different sectors that have opened up, I'm very delighted to mention, apart from the plain vanilla programs which are very popular like management and engineering and say computer science or robotics and some of the allied areas, we have also the IILM School of Law. But apart from that, we have launched a very interesting program on hospitality and services management, which means it could be right from airlines to it can get into any sector of hospitality, where you need a lot of these finishing school skills which are very important in terms of different competencies, the behavioral competencies. Similarly, the School of Behavioral Science, Psychology is really coming up with a big divide in the area of, SGD3 of health and well-being. So healthcare programs are really catching up, where there is a need for human resource in a very big way. And also, we have started another interesting track on sports management. That's a huge requirement in India, if you look at. So I think some of these new age programs, and to top it all, of course, the cybersecurity, forensic science, and this has been there for a while now. But there has been need now to do more of eclectic delivery, where a student now, as you know, the new policy which has come in, a student can do 2 degrees at a time, which means while a student of IIT or any other tech giants are doing a program there, but there is a very innovative online program available at our university. The students can enroll there. So which means students are getting a lot of scope to be having their choice-based curriculum, and also we call it design your own degree. So you're able to actually cull out the best in individuals. This may also include some of the softer areas like, even communication school, for example, they have things on even public speaking, which is a very important area, especially in the publishing or in broadcast journalism. So these are some of the things which are also important. But more than just programs, I believe a lot that certificate programs are becoming very important, because even after doing a graduation in engineering, we have seen students move into a very creative industry. For example, in design thinking. So a lot of such programs are becoming very popular. So while you offer a particular track, you can have a huge choice where students can take up minor programs. They are able to choose the right track that they want to get in on those 50% of those credits, and then they are able to also get a job. So they are more employable, and it's a huge choice that they can have.
In fact, it's a very good point that you raised, and we're running out of time. So, Professor Tandon, I wanted to ask you this. When an individual is multi-skilled, and we often see, like ma'am was suggesting, that probably an engineering student completely moving paths and going into a different journey altogether. How does the industry really perceive this? Because you may be skilled in one particular sector, but your aspirations or ambitions could be for some other sector. So does this become a deterrent for the industry, or does the industry really feel that the more the skilled the individual, the better the employee or professional he or she may become?
Well, talking about double majors or double degrees, we are giving them minor degrees also. I'm aligning my answer to what you just said. It's very important that we impart students, we give them a choice to select from that particular subject which actually interests them. If a person is working in the field of engineering, might like to do something in the field of finance or economics, it is definitely going to hone his skills. It's not going to be a deterrent from any angle, because as per NAP and UGC curriculum framework, all these, these rules, these guidelines have been made to see to it that we increase the scope, we broaden the horizon of a student. This is very important. I would like to touch one more subject which is very important regarding the research, role of industry in research. Research plays very important role these days, research and innovation. In research today, DBT, DST, ICMR, all these funding agencies, they are saying that we must have some kind of collaboration with industry. We talk about BIRAC project, we talk about big project, that is Biotechnology Ignition Grant. So we at MIT University are going, a step ahead when we collaborate with the industry, and we have projects in the field of research from BIRAC, from DBT as a BIRAC, industry as a partner. Similarly, coming to incubators. Our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji has said that 2047 we are going to be Viksit Bharat, which is only possible if we are self-reliant. And that is if we today tell our students, instead of being job seekers, be job providers, which is, is a very important term. So to do that, it's very important that we need to have innovation incubators, and we at MIT have 750 plus student startups. This is what, our USP is today. It is very important that in that case we rope in industry people, we enroll people from government, from various funding agencies, and our own teachers and our own students. So I guess as I said, it's need of the minute for us, for industry to be there everywhere in the field of academics. Thank you.
So may I just add to your question? You mentioned about how students are choosing different programs. So if you look at investment banking per se, worldwide, you will see they are hiring historians. So it really doesn't limit. So this is just a first level of degree. If you look at artificial intelligence, you have more behavioral scientists working. So there is now teams which are cross-disciplinary, transdisciplinary. They come and solve problems. So I think problem solving would be very important. So yes, while there would be certain very straight programs where they are doing very entry-level jobs, for which, so for example, coding is almost going to get over by in some more years maybe. But I think specifically to the specialized programs, I don't see that your first degree is so very much important to get into the industry. So it's more about your competencies, overall skills that you're able to develop.
All right, I hope our young viewers are listening to this, that this is not the end. The education that you take is not the end. There's a vast plethora of options that are there for everyone to look out for. Thank you very much, Professor Tandon, Professor Banerjee, and Professor Gopalan, and thank you very much for your patience and for your time. I would also like to invite Mr. Yash Mehta, CEO of ABP Education, to please come on stage and give your token of appreciation to our panelists.